I think about this every single day. It's not something that I can put out of my mind. It's always there. I always think about it. We played in Greenville, South Carolina, our last show, the last time that Ronnie Van Zant ever sang Freebird was in Greenville. Then we were headed to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We were on a 95 city world tour. We were going to do our United States leg of the tour using our airplane that we had our name on it. And then we were going to, go to Australia, Japan, Europe. So we had an extensive 95 city world tour, and we were only 5 shows into it when we played in Greenville. We ran out of gas. I mean, it's pretty much as simple as that. The pilots made a fatal mistake, and they were good guys. I knew them, but they made a very bad mistake by not checking the tank on the plane. It's a 1947 Convair, so you can't really trust the gauges on an older aircraft like that. And most pilots understand that you're supposed to take a wooden stick and you drop it down into the tank to visually see how much fuel you have. And they did not do that. And we were only, about 60 miles away from Louisiana there in Baton Rouge, where our next show was. So we almost made it, but we ran out of fuel at about 9,000 feet on our final approach. We took on 400 gallons of fuel in Greenville, South Carolina, but we were just 60 miles short when we ran out of fuel. Plus, the engine was not running properly, and it was using more fuel than necessary. So we had a lot of things against us.
Man, oh man, 60 miles. Wow. And history would be forever changed, not to mention so many lives. When the crash happens, you probably think this is it for you. And when do you remember regaining consciousness? Do you wake up in a hospital and then they just tell you that, your friends have passed, or what was the experience on your end?
Well, I've never been knocked out. I've been in a lot of crashes, car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks, different things, and I've never been knocked unconscious. So I was fully aware of every single second that went down. And I knew that we were crashing, but, my life did not flash before my eyes. All I was doing was trying to assess, what do I need to do? Because I'm a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. So my Marine Corps training kicked in, and I just started thinking of what can I do? I am a pilot. So I kept going back and forth to the cockpit to relay information to the cabin. And I kind of played stewardess, where I went around and told everybody to put out their cigarettes, turn off any lights, and conserve any kind of fuel that we had, any kind of energy that we had aboard the plane. We wanted to conserve that, and told everybody to fasten their seatbelts. So I knew what was happening. We all knew what was happening. There was a certain amount of calm aboard the plane. There was a couple of incidents where a band member got really mad at the pilot and co-pilot for letting this happen. So there was a little bit of yelling going on, but everybody pretty much remained calm, and we realized that we just needed to hang on because it was going to be rough, and it was.
We should mention the names of everyone that was lost that day. Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, backup singer Cassie Gaines, assistant road manager Dean Kilpatrick, and as you mentioned, the pilot Walter McCreary and co-pilot William Gray, all killed on impact. Several other band members, including yourself and the tour manager and some road crew members, survived serious injuries. Obviously, didn't you help pull some people from the crash?
Well, you're right, Jason. I've never called myself a hero. Gary Rossington did, and for years on television and radio and newspaper, Gary referred to me as the band's hero, not my words. But as a Marine, I did what I had to do. All I could do was go get help. My friends needed help, and I had to go get that help. I did help a couple of people out of the plane and did everything I could, a little bit of triage before I left the crash scene. But I soon realized that the only thing that was going to help my friends was help. And when I walked out of that swamp and that forest to go get help, I did it for every single person on that plane. And I went to the farmhouse and I came back. And yes, I was upset. I was scared. You know, my friends were dead before my eyes. But I was able to put one foot in front of the other, even with my injuries, and get to the farmhouse and then bring help back to the crash site. And, you know, I think about the people that perished. I think about them every single day. Our pilot and co-pilot, I found them before I left the crash site, and they were both definitely dead. And then, of course, the four members of our organization, Dean Kilpatrick, who was an amazing guy, and Cassie Gaines, she sat in front of me, and she perished, and I'm still here. So it's up to me to talk about her and tell the world what a great person that Cassie was. She had a degree in physical education. She sang on Broadway in the musical Hair. She was an amazing person and just lovely human being. And she's the one that told us about her brother, Steve. And they were amazing, you know, an amazing family. But when I've said this before, that when you lose somebody like Ronnie Van Zant, you know, who was the lead singer and the visionary for the band and the writer, the prolific writer of the group, and Steve Gaines, who came in and wrote with Ronnie and sang with Ronnie, I think about them all the time. And of course, the pilots, Walter McCreary and John Gray, they were friends. But, you know, I think about it every day. For years, I was very sad. And then I decided that after 40 years of being sad, I'm going to be happy. Not that I celebrate the plane crash, but now instead of just thinking about the bad side of the plane crash and losing all of my friends and the world lost Ronnie. I mean, we lost Elvis in August and then we lost Ronnie in October. So, you know, the musical world took a hit there between August and October. And I just think about the good times. I think about the incredible music that we played all over the world for millions of people. So I've decided, you know, I'm going to be reverent and I'm going to be somber, but I've been sad for over 40 years. And now I'm going to be happy about the music